Right, it's game on for now. All right, hello and welcome to the Matchday Vlogs YouTube channel. As always, please remember to smash that like button and hit subscribe if you haven't already, because it really does make a difference to the channel, right? This evening, we are here to talk about so many things, but we're going to try and go over everything we know as of now. There has been multiple cancellations over the weekend. There was only one fixture played on Saturday, Arsenal versus Leeds, or Leeds versus Arsenal, I should rather say, and 3 fixtures featuring the top 3, the games that were kept on. I wonder why that was. Yeah,
how that came about. That must have been our
yeah,
decision.
yeah. Really tough decision for the Premier League. So Jack and I will be doing our best to just try and unpick exactly what is happening now. Now, there was a meeting held today that basically the Premier League got together and said there's no point in having a fire break, circuit breaker. Is that what they called it?
Circuit breaker.
Because what's to say that the situation won't be exactly the same when we recommence in a week's time or 2 weeks' time or whatever that would be. So they have decided to continue and just keep things going as is and try and help stop games being cancelled 2 hours before or an hour before, and fans are travelling up and down the country only to hear their games have been cancelled. It's obviously bad news. Now, if you're watching this and you've actually been caught up in that, please do let us know in the chat section. Let us know your experience of that. Incidentally, if you've been turned away from a stadium because you haven't had the right credentials, that hasn't happened to us yet. We've got them, so it's not been a problem. Have we always been asked for them? No. So it's all been a bit of confusion there, really. So let us know in the chat section on that as well. Now, the obvious question here, Jack, is the big motivation. It's going to be on money, isn't it?
Money. Yeah, it's.
Do you agree with the standpoint taken in today's meeting?
Absolutely, I do. I'm sorry. I'm going to be absolutely selfish here. The Premier League is what kept me going during lockdown, and I want it more. I want more of it. Tough. I want football. I want all the football. Keep me giving the football all the time. The football. I understand why people don't want it to, but the way I look at it is that even with the problem with this, Mike, there's no way we're going to get through this without being like, here's what I think about coronavirus.
Okay.
And, just get on with it.
Yes. I mean, I think if we're taking the what we know so far, obviously there has been a stark increase in cases. What's not been deciphered yet is how many of those are going to turn into hospitalizations, which ultimately is going to have an impact. But the sharp increase of cases is of course going to sort of put a lot of pressure if it was to turn into, and I think that's really the big unknown at the moment, which is why it's holding off. From my point of view, I think what the Premier League have decided today might just well become irrelevant over the next 48, 72 hours, depending on what's held up in the government. So we just don't know yet, do we? And I think that the issues for me over the weekend really boiled down to the fact that Chelsea wanted their game called off, and it didn't happen, even though they had cases upon cases, and actually cases since they turned up at the ground. And a part of me was looking at the Brentford game, which obviously our game on Saturday was cancelled, and from my understanding, and actually from what I've heard on the radio today, really, it's a case of if you've got 13 players fit and a goalie, your game goes ahead. Mm-hmm. And I don't believe for 1 second that any of those fixtures, if we're including the under-21s squad, which supposedly they are, or is it first team? How are they playing it?
I don't know what. I think there's a loosey-goosey definition of that rule. But it's just whether that rule, is that the rule that's been set in place the entire time, or is that what they've decided going forward? Like, listen, this is what you need to go forward. We've made a decision here. You need 13 players, and you're good to go. You're good to go.
Yeah, I think it was decided quite recently, that specific number. And then you have the cases of okay, but do you class players that aren't fit to play within that number, who wouldn't play anyway? Do you know what I mean? So if like,
Well, no, it would be players fit and ready to go. Like they would have to be cleared to play football as it usually would be. But this is the way, like it's just it's do what's good for business until we literally can't go anymore because they've lost so much money over the past 2 years.
yeah,
You can't expect them to shut down over what is in the grand scheme of what we've been going through a slightly more minor up blip in it.
yeah,
It could get worse. It could flatten out again. Just keep doing what's good for business. Keep the doors open until you possibly can. It's the same as we would do in retail. You keep the doors open until you've literally been told by the government that you can't do it anymore. Like, it's just the way. It's just the way you've got to do things.
yeah. And I kind of agree with today's standpoint. You just got to keep playing it by ear and sort of judge each case rather than have a kind of blanket. Right, we're going to stop because we just don't know what's going to happen in a week's time. So I think it's, ultimately safety has to come into this, and I'm sure they've done it. Funny enough, over the weekend, I had a weird kind of March 2020 vibe going on in my head, thinking like, what was my emotions going through that period? And I actually went back and watched some of our old videos around that kind of time. Mm-hmm. We had no idea. No. We were kind of talking as if we'll be back in 6 months' time. Everything will be normal. And yet, here we are. There was a kind of a mild ignorance in our chat as to like, oh, this is quite novel. Oh,
yeah. Do you know what? I've not thought about our videos in that sense that we could in the years to come, we're like, what was I like during COVID? And we would look at us prime, just like, yeah.
We were screaming into microphones watching Saints games.
I think that's a pretty good way to get through it.
It is, yeah, really. We can do that.
I mean, coming out the other side now, Mike. I mean, we kind of walked because everything I do. I was telling Ian today that multiple times I was walking around town whistling "Oh, and the Saints." It's clicked too far.
You've gone full circle.
It used to be I would sit around and I would browse guitar websites, but since coming back from lockdown, it's just sort of up injury updates. Southampton Twitter. Let's go for it. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
There's a comment up here about Jeremy397 saying we've got so many injuries. So if they postpone games, I'd be quite happy. We've not got that many injuries compared to other clubs. I mean, I think the likes of Chelsea have got all of their front men completely injured.
Yeah, can we?
All the stats of Broja outperforming all of them. Yeah. We want to keep that one quiet.
Here's the thing. Right now, what we should be doing is saying how we know that I think Ralph said 100% of the team is vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Really?
100% of our team is vaccinated, all with boosters on the way. And keep in mind the league. I think the stat things come through is that it's 25% of the players in the league are unvaccinated.
Wow. Okay. Well, completely. Okay.
So. When you think about things like that, Southampton in good positions there, to fight it, and the injuries aren't looking that bad. So this is a real good time for us to push for top 10. Because if all these teams start dropping away and we can just maintain those 13 players, because Ralph, I remember we talked in the last show that Ralph, I think it's 2012, was hospitalized by a virus, and he takes it very serious. So you could see in the next few weeks that all Southampton players are already in these little bubbles.
Yeah, that's
what they do, and they're absolutely fine. They're all healthy and safe, and we're going to win the league because everybody else is going to be dropping off. If you're going to let it work for your favor, let's let it work for our favor. Okay, it might actually help us in the next few weeks. And we can
Yeah, you never know. Absolutely. I mean, Bastian here said it's under 23s with Premier League experience, so those who have played first team football or who are registered to do so. The likes of Chelsea, they sold their good ones to us, so woohoo.
You just said don't mention it. You just said don't mention it.
Well, they can't have one back unless they give us a large sum of cash. But yeah, we'll keep the Broja thing on the down low. The conversion rate looks ridiculous though. But we will get into the preview chat. We are actually just literally scheduled the West Ham preview straight after this show, which will be well, when we finish this, I've scheduled it for 9:30, but it'll happen when we're done chatting about all this speculative stuff, really, because
Yeah.
ultimately we're only going to share what we know, and share some of your views in regards to any views in the chat section there, or anyone who's had any experience of having to make a long journey and then make a long journey back.
Yeah, I saw the. Have you seen the? I saw the pictures of the lad that came over to watch Villa play, and he came from Amsterdam,
Oh no,
and
no, I didn't see
yeah,
that.
came all the way over. Got a few
Well, for
pictures of
Saturday's game.
yeah, for Saturday's game, and then back home you go. Got some nice pictures outside the ground though, with some cups, so that was nice for him. That was a little treat for him. So that was cool. But on the plus side, I know what you're saying. Like, the top three will happen to play on Sunday, but there were some bloody good games.
Yeah, yeah.
Very entertaining game. We barely got any football this weekend, but the football I got to watch was pretty entertaining.
It was, and I think there were plenty of talking points in regards to VAR and some absolutely shocking decisions.
I mean, after all those decisions like over the weekend, and we look at the Palace game. Like, we thought it was a foul, and they build up to that. There's no looking at that. There was a handball for their second goal, and look at they're just not using it.
Well, it's the same buffoons that were there before using computers now, isn't it?
I feel like I know I said it ages ago.
Premier League can't find me. I can say stuff like that.
I feel like but we can say whatever we want. Ralph writes all of this for us. I would love it if that we can institute that the coach's flag system from the NFL. So like when they see something like they've got 3 flags to call in the game, like you need to look at this again. Like actually go and look at that.
You want more eyes on these subjects, do you?
I'm not saying you can have all for the game that the manager can make you go over there, but like the 3 flag system of like, listen, if he really wants you to look at that again, you should be able to. They should have that decision. Each team should be able to be like, listen, you really need to look at this.
Yeah, it was shocking. I did like Klopp after that game though, with Paul Tierney. He says, "I don't have a problem with a single referee except you." I was thinking that's a very clever way of wording that, because it's almost like he's not. That could mean so many things if he gets pulled up on it. So, yeah, love it. Absolutely love it. Right. Wow. We pretty much.
That's the league, mate.
We've done that subject, really.
It's just a weird spot to be in, isn't it? It's just good to have these little check-ins.
Yeah. And I think there is. I was quite tempted to get West Ham away tickets, but
no.
No.
There's a lot of away days you could offer me, and West Ham would be the one I'd be like.
I know it's the way. If it was at Upton Park, it'd be different. But it just on the preface that it could be ending soon. Do you know what I mean? You're looking at every fixture now, thinking like, is this it? Like, for a while?
Why are you thinking like that?
Oh, well, just
stop it.
Just
stop it. Just stop it. Just stop.
Okay.
Just stop.
Fine.
If you need to know what the rules and restrictions are, you just ask me, mate. Just ask me, and don't question it. And just don't question it.
Rules and restrictions. Don't go West Ham away.
That is, I consider that's a year. That's no matter pandemic or not. West Ham away is just not worth your time and effort.
It's never ended well. We're not going to. Dear me. Right. Well, we are going to get on to the West Ham away preview straight after this. But like I said, as we know at the moment, the Premier League met today at 2 p.m. to discuss everything that was going on, and they are deciding to continue with the Premier fixtures on a basis that, as they have been doing at the moment. So basically, if you have 13 first-team registered players fit plus a goalkeeper, your game will go ahead, which will obviously mean for some interesting lineups. And with the injuries mounting up the way they are with multiple clubs, it's surely that's going to play in contention as well. Because if you've got 10 or between 6 and 8 players injured, then you're going to have less opportunity to have eligible first team players. So that's going to have an impact as well. But that is everything we know so far. Obviously, we will do our best to jump on here and chat about the subjects. I'm not going to promise that we're going to keep everyone up to date because that's what the news is for, and you pay a license fee for that. So, yeah,
We're just here for those sweet, sweet emotions.
yeah, and the speculative stuff. So, but I think there's a lot of thought out there for don't stop the league and keep things going because ultimately there isn't going to be much space to replay these fixtures because a lot of these clubs have European competitions. Spurs have got kicked out of their Europa Conference League because they can't find a replay date that's agreeable with Rennes. So they've been kicked out of that with a 3-0 loss by defaulting the game.
Which is kind of outrageous, but you know.
Well, those are the rules. Those have been the rules for way before. Anyway, if you can't find a scheduled date, so and I don't think they're that bothered by it really by the
No, Conte wants to get on that league.
right, exactly. And then for the rest of us, I mean, we got to find rescheduled spaces. They're basically taking away the FA Cup replays this year as well, so there'll be less games to schedule on that in the hope that will make space for some of these rescheduled stuff. But at the end of this, we've got a follow-up Premier League season to contend with, as well as the World Cup.
Oh yes, that beautiful, beautiful World Cup that we're all very much looking forward to.
You're going to have this backlog that if this mounts up, it's not going to be like it was last time, where ultimately they just played through the summer and cancelled the Euros until the following year. Are they going to cancel World Cup and push it on?
I mean, it's already push it on into the summer. Yeah, let's do that. That'd be nice.
Well, they'd have. Well, that's the thing.
Let's just cancel that World Cup.
They'd have to push it on an entire year and have it right, and then what you'll then have is a Euros.
A Euros, and then in the summer a World Cup, in the winter a World
Euro
Cup.
2022, Euro 2024. No,
Do you reckon they would? Do you reckon they would reprint the Panini stickers this time, or do you reckon they would just leave it like they did for the Euros? I think
maybe. But that's my point. Is like you're going to have that knock-on effect, and effectively you're going to end up with a very congested time, whatever you do. So it's going to bring in some really, really tricky scenarios.
Sorry, mate.
There we go.
Football.
But like I said, everyone is happy that the Premier League is continuing. The Premier League is to continue, but that's all we know so far. As of right now, that is what's happening. But I think we can probably draw a line on that subject for now. Are we done talking about that? Should we move on to the West Ham game?
Yeah, should we move on to the West Ham game?
Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to jump off here and then we're going to jump straight back on with the West Ham preview. So let us know in the comments section if you've had any issues with travelling to games, what your thoughts are on the Premier League continued, should you think there should be a circuit breaker, all those kind of things. Let us know your thoughts and we will see you very shortly, actually, in the next one. All right, see you.